of Destroy All Podcast. We are Destroy All Microbots.
Welcome back to another exciting episode of Destroy All Podcast. I'm Lieutenant One, and today I have a very special guest with me. Very special, close to my heart. We want to bring in Miss Laura Jackson.
Hello.
Yeah, so this month we're focusing in on health, right? And one big issue that is for like both of us, our whole family, is sickle cell awareness.
Yes.
And you've been dealing with this like your entire life. So before we get into the science and statistics, can you share your personal connection to sickle cell and why this mission matters to you the most?
It matters to me the most because we were dying at such a young age that I really wanted us to, be able to survive past the statistics they were giving us to be, not here during our teen years. So I think it was more so for me to challenge everything that I was told that I wasn't able to do. So I did it anyway.
Okay. Hey, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
If you had to describe sickle cell in one sentence to anyone who's never heard of it, what would you say?
That one would be painful. If you mean describing it like what's going on with you.
Yeah, like I've never heard of sickle cell. How would you let me know what it is?
Oh, okay. Well, it is an inherited blood disorder that is a mutated gene that's the shape of a sickle, like a half moon shape, and it's kind of harder for it to go through the blood vessels. So if you can picture a blood vessel trying to get a regular cell, which is a donut shape, going through there with oxygen, and it's very fluid. With sickle cell, we have those, but we also have more of the sickle shapes. So it's kind of jagged. It's not carrying oxygen, so it makes it more sticky. So it sticks along the walls of the cells. So wherever that happens, and it's not able to move and doesn't have a fluent flow. That's the reason why we have to really stay hydrated. We have sickle cell crisis.
Okay. Do you remember the first time you realized how serious this disease really was?
Yeah. And that was in, I'm going to say junior high. Maybe, I'm going to say, no, I'm not going to say junior high. I'm going to say maybe about fifth or sixth grade. We had to have sickle cell awareness group come to my school. I was going to Finneytown. And at that point, it was not a lot of black people there. So, and there's not a lot of awareness around time I was born either. So they were still trying to figure out what it was, and everything. So I had a crisis at school, and they didn't know what to do. So they called my mom. She had to come up there and get me. And I was in the hospital for like maybe 2 weeks. And that's when I realized that there was really something wrong.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah.
What's the biggest misconception about sickle cell that you run into all the time?
That we're drug seekers.
Oh.
Because we don't have a deformity. We look like normal people, and they can't see. If we were able to wear our pain on the outside, you know what I mean? We would probably get a much bigger response, but because of the fact that we're functioning, we're out here in this world, we're doing everything, they don't see what goes on when you're having a crisis or what you have to go through when you're having a crisis.
Oh, so if you go to the hospital and like, I need pain medication, and they just don't give it to you.
No, a lot of times when you do go to the ER, those people normally know who the sickle cell patients are, because it's not like you got rooms full of sickle cell patients today. You know what I mean? So everybody doesn't have a crisis at the same time. So you kind of get, depending on how sick you are, and if you're not taking care of yourself well, yeah, they will get to know you a lot, because you're back and forth and you're not doing what you probably need to do, or you're not paying attention to what's going on around you to keep you from that.
That makes sense. Why do you think sickle cell does not get the same national spotlight as like other chronic diseases?
Because it hasn't affected other communities,
It's labeled like a
ethnic
black
communities.
disease.
It's a, I'm glad you said that because I gotta get this. I have to say this. There's this lady that I know in Cincinnati, Ohio. Her name is Lisa Mitchell, and she's on my Facebook page. And I went across her page one day, and she said something that stuck with me, and it was that sickle cell is not a black disease; it's a blood disease
Mm.
because of the fact that, at first, it was known to be a predominantly black illness, but because we have a melting pot now, um, other ethnic groups are coming up with sickle cell, and until it starts affecting other people besides the predominantly black communities, but just other communities, and in different parts of the world or whatever, then I think that's when we get more awareness to it because we've been dying for years with having this illness. So I think it's just gonna have to take for someone with maybe a lighter skin. I hate to say that, but you would get a little bit more recognition if it did affect other, you know, um, ethnic communities.
I'm sure it would. I'm sure it was because we saw the drug epidemic didn't really get the focus until it hit the other communities.
Exactly. And
Once it hit the other
yes.
communities, boom! Now it's a national
Right.
emergency.
And sickle cell patients have been dying in silence for a long time. You know what I mean? Just literally dying in silence, not having the help that they need or the resources available as much as it should be. You know, they're here in Cincinnati. We're I can say we're truly blessed. I'm gonna say I'm truly blessed because where I came from, with from Children's Hospital over to University Hospital, um, I I hear a lot of bad things about university or whatever, but one thing for sure is that you know even on my bad days, dying days, university has kept me on top. I have the best doctors, best groups support and all that. So
Well, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. What are some of the everyday challenges people living with sickle cell face that the public just doesn't see?
they don't see the blood transfusions. They don't see the hospitalizations. They don't see being stuck all the time. They don't see us missing out in graduation. They don't see us not having close connections with friends. They don't see the trauma and the pain that we go through with uh, having surgeries and organs being damaged because of low blood cell count. They don't, they don't. That's what they don't see. Us fighting, basically every day.
Yeah, because I know coming up, there was times where you would just disappear.
Yeah, those are hospitalizations.
Exactly, and we weren't aware of
Right.
like what was going on because nobody really talked
Well,
about it.
that's another problem is that there's not enough awareness. You know what I mean? Like we need to be talking about these things because they're, if we really want to get down to it, we could get rid of the illness without all the medication with the next generations coming by just being aware about who your partners are and knowing if they have sickle cell running in their families and knowing what your background is because it's an inherited blood disorder.
Hmm.
So if that's not in your family, you have nothing to worry about. But if you have traits or you have somebody who might have just had some sickle cell or or I don't care if it was just one person. It's still running in your bloodline. So if we knew who everybody was, or if they knew more about sickle cell, they would be more aware about maybe who they were having babies with, so they wouldn't have to have babies like myself, who was in the hospital majority of their life.
Wow. Now, how does sickle cell highlight the gaps we still have in healthcare access and equality? Like, is it because it's not brought up immediately? Does it take time for them to recognize it and then start treating you? And is there sometimes where it's too late and you're already sick?
Um, yeah, because it's unpredictable. So, just like almost like lupus, it's just very unpredictable. You see people with lupus every day out here functioning or whatever, but when it hit them, it hit them.
Yeah.
And that's how it is with sickle cell. And that could be a change of environment, weather, um, infection, lack of sleep.
Now, I'm gonna throw a curveball at you,
Yeah.
because my wife has lupus, and
Mhm.
it took me a while to get used to that.
Mhm.
Like, because the first part of our life we were doing everything, and then the second part,
Right.
she reared its ugly head, and there's days she's just like, I can't move,
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't do anything.
Yeah.
So how does dating or having relationships with how does sickle cell affect your dating or relationship with somebody? Does it?
Yeah, it does. It's different for men and women. Um, with me, I guess if no one knows about it, has I feel like that if you've been around sickness or no illness, then sickle cell wouldn't be no much shorter than anything else or whatever. But if you've never been around someone who's been sick, or if you've seen somebody severely sick, then that's probably not what you want to do, because there's a lot of depression that affects your mental health, not knowing from one day to the next if you're going to be dead or alive, um, just trusting people. You get insecure. You withdraw a lot. So it you know it's kind of uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Because I've lived with it by myself. No one could ever know what I go through. I don't care how much you try to help. You could never
Right.
know how much I'm going through. And, drugs play a lot with that, the imbalance in hormones, and, snapping, and, you know what I mean, not understanding, feeling like don't nobody care. I mean, there's just so much that goes on with that. But if you have a partner who is willing to, well, first, you have to be willing to take care of yourself.
Right.
And if you're in a healthy state, where you're taking care of yourself, and your partner knows that your health is number one, then I think that definitely can be a healthy relationship, because then they pay attention a lot more, about what's going on, just like how you did with your wife. Like, it took time to figure out when it was going to happen, how it was going to happen, and how you could prevent it or whatever. So you got to have somebody who's willing to be in there with you.
Yeah, because I think what really opened my eyes is there was one point where where she lost like 60 pounds, right? Like, she got down to like under 100 pounds, and
Yeah.
you know what she looks like.
Yeah.
So, and she was in the bed looking frail and sickly, and I had to literally pick her up and take her to the hospital. And they said if I hadn't taken her that day, she probably would have died.
Yep. And you got to be aware of those things. You know what I mean? And first and foremost, sickle cell patients have to be on top of it. Not only do we have to, in the midst of going through painful crisis, but we also have to be teachers and educators at the same time, because we have to let people know what it is they can and cannot do, around us, while being engulfed with uh, excruciating pain.
Yeah, I feel you.
The number one question I always get is, how does it feel?
Yeah, how can you answer that?
Easily, real easy. If you've ever had a Charlie horse, right? put 1,000 on it.
Oh man, and that's
that
ridiculous.
is anywhere in your body where blood flows.
Oh,
So I had a crisis in my eye when I was born, and that became a ptosis. It's almost like a scarring over my eye because I had a sickle cell crisis in my eye. And so the scarring came from there. So I'm partially blind in my right eye. So little things like that, it just wherever. And I've had it in my gums. I'm some of the weirdest places,
wow.
like trigger warnings, or my gums start throbbing. That's one of my. I had to pick up on that.
Oh
And
man.
every time something's about to happen, my gums will start throbbing.
Oh boy, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Now, what's something that doctors or hospitals often get wrong about treating sickle cell patients?
We're not all the same.
Yeah, I found that with lupus too. You
Yeah,
can't
we're
treat it
not
all the
all the
same.
same because everybody doesn't. Some people are fighters. Some people are, just I'ma just go along with it, or I just don't care. And I believe that each everybody is different with every illness that they have or whatever. Some suffer more, some don't. Some are more healthier, some are not. Um, I think it starts mentally,
Mm-hmm.
if you ask me. So I think that they should treat every patient individually and not bunch us all together because I've never been a drug seeker. Like if anything, I try my best not to have to take the medicine.
Right.
And so if I want to do that, then I got to take better care of myself and making sure that I'm getting what I need on a daily, that I don't want to take pill form. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I mean exercising, making sure I'm getting to my appointments, all of that, that comes with it. So individually, I think we should be sized up because coming up, a lot of the sickle cell patients in my age bracket, a lot of them had died. Some of them died from drug overdose. We lost some of them just through bad sickle cell crisis, blood transfusions not working. So, depending on, and I grew up with these people. I went to camp with them. You know what I mean? We were all running around there. We all had the same illness, but some of it were SS and some of us were SC. And that right there makes a big difference. We're suffering with the same problems, but they come in different parts of our lives, and they affect us differently. Especially with the family makeup, and
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Now, if you had the ear of lawmakers right now, what's one policy change you would push for to improve sickle cell care?
The first one would be this, and I promise you, this is something I really, really want to do. It's been done, but there would be a permanent policy for sickle cell patients when entering an emergency room upon arrival of being in triage and check-in, that they are no longer can sit in the waiting room no longer than 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, they need to be in the back, hooked up to an IV. I don't care if it's not in a room, it could be in the hallway. But we need fluids because if that blood count drops, it messes up organs, it could damage brain, it could do a lot of bad things, and it can make it a lot longer before we can come up out of that. So the policy would be that they are not to be able to sit in that waiting room no longer than 30 minutes without IV fluid and pain medication.
Oh, okay. That's strong. That's powerful. And
Yeah.
you meant that. I could feel you meant that.
Yes, yes. Because I've suffered with being in the, you know, could you imagine being in a waiting room where there's other sick people and you come in and you look normal, but you can't keep still and you looking, you know, trying to catch your breath and you got to sit there for hour
Yeah.
doing that, rocking back and forth and trying to find some kind of balance and you know trying to take the pain away in your mind, but it's too far gone. So now we're here.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reason why I said for the immediate reaction, because at home, if you're taking your medication, I'll say after a day or so, if it has not worked for you, then it's time to go. It's time to go to the ER. If you've done all that you can do, hot water baths, taking your pain medication, meditating, getting your I don't care, favorite scent, music on, or whatever, and it's not working, and it gets worse within that day, yeah, it's time to go. It's time to go.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So what's one myth about sickle cell that you want to destroy right here on Destroy All Podcast?
That we're not living long, and we are.
Yes. Yes, dear, you are. You are living proof we're living long.
We're living
You are
long.
living long. And yes, I totally agree. I totally agree with that. If someone listening today remembers one thing about sickle cell, what do you want it to be?
That we're warriors, in disguise. We're in strong combat every day. I want them to know that the fight is not over, you know, and every day gets better. It gets better as long as you're paying attention.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Give us a statistic or fact about sickle cell that will shock our listeners.
Mm. Let me see. I'm gonna have to think about that one.
Oh, we can come back to it.
Okay.
We can come back to it.
Yeah.
We can come back to it. Ooh. All right. Here's one.
Okay.
Finish the sentence. If sickle cell affected more privileged communities,
Ooh. Keyword.
you finish that out.
If sickle cell affected more privileged communities, there would be more help. There would be more awareness. There would be more cures. Definitely education.
Mm.
You know, being educated.
Okay.
That's what it would be. If it was privileged communities.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Now, what do you say to people who think sickle cell is just another illness?
Mm. Well, I mean, you can't. It's kind of hard to say, because if you don't know, you just don't know. You know what I mean? So some people just don't know. And like I said, there's not enough awareness out there, because what's shocking to me is to know that there's people of my own color who have no idea of what sickle cell is.
Yes, yes.
And all they ever say is, I know somebody that died from it. But you don't know what it is.
Yeah, because I'll be honest, if you weren't in my family, I would
Right.
probably have no clue what it was.
Yeah.
Right, because it's so close to me.
Mm-hmm.
I've done my research and seen you go through the pain and everything. So
Right.
we're pretty aware.
Right.
And as a family, I know we all know you got it, and we all know when you're sick. Hey,
Yeah, when I'm
reach
down,
out.
I'm down.
Reach out, like make sure she's good.
Yeah.
Check
Yeah.
on her. Boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom. We as a family, I think we've accepted that,
Mm-hmm.
and we don't hold anything like against you. We just make sure that you're comfortable and whatever we can do to help, even if it's nothing.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I call you need anything, cuz nope.
Right.
Just
Yeah. I mean, and that's how it normally is. You know what I mean? Until it gets to that point, where it's bad. Now, if it gets that bad, and I will reach out. But this is what I say: let your good days be your good days, and let your bad days be your bad days.
that's perfect. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that. What role can communities or podcasts like ours and everyday people play in raising awareness?
Oh, getting the word out, going to blood drives, donating blood. Go to Hawksworth here in Cincinnati, Ohio, or wherever this is reaching or touching ears. Donate blood when you can. It's not scary. It's not. Maybe I say that because I'm getting stuck all the time, but I'm like a pin cushion, you know. Yeah, take it from the pin cushion. But yeah, donate blood. If you know somebody who is suffering from the illness, be supportive. Give them a word of inspiration. Let them know that you know about it. Being educated about it. That really, really just brightens my face when somebody be like, "Oh yeah, I know all about that." Well, how are you? Because they know, like, outside of this shell, that there's a little suffering that goes on behind it, or whatever. And it's always interesting to talk to people who know about it because then it's like, all these years we live with suffering in silence that we don't think anybody's listening or anybody cares. That when somebody does know about it, that's like oh, okay, well, you know what? Maybe the word is getting out, so maybe talk about it more. We need it in elementary schools. We need to make sure that these babies having these newborn screening tests done so we can figure it out before they get too old and have other ailments going on and it be due to sickle cell.
Okay. All right, that's perfect. What's giving you hope right now, whether it's research, treatment, or community progress?
What gives me hope? The research. The research gives me hope. The medications that they're coming up with now that's making it easier for us to get rid of a lot of things. Like sickle cell patients suffer with a lot of iron overload. So we have like new medications like X Jade and Jade New and stuff that and get all of that out because they didn't know, but that was the reason why a lot of us were dying then, because of the iron overload. But we needed the transfusions, so that was the only way to really keep us alive until, we were back above, whatever normal level that was. But yeah, just that right there.
Okay. All right. Now, if someone listening right now wants to get involved, whether it's through donations, advocacy, or volunteering, what's the best first step that you think?
I would say go to Hawksworth at University Hospital and become a donor. Then you'll start meeting other people who have not only sickle cell but cancer patients, people with leukemia, lupus, and it's just a whole new world, of people, of strong people. I don't see sickness when I see them. I see strong people, you know, um, that are really going through a lot. So yeah,
Oh, that.
I would say go to Hawksworth, go to University Hospital, maybe even ask, or even over to Children's Hospital and volunteer to maybe read books or help with homework and things like that with the kids that are sick or and being hospitalized a lot.
Okay. All right. As they keep dinging in my ear. Let's see. What's the legacy you hope to leave in the fight against sickle cell?
Mm, legacy. Uh, well, one is, and I'm hoping that because of the awareness that I do have, that I'm able to cut this off from the generations that are to come from my daughter, that we won't have to deal with sickle cell anymore because she knows she has the trait. So therefore, we ask these questions now, because she saw what I went through. So I'm hoping to even just cut that off from our whole generation, just for it to be wiped out. Just how easy it is, just through awareness and knowing who you're with, or whatever. That um, I don't want it to go no further than me. I think it was supposed to stop right here, started here, and it's stopping right here.
Okay. That's hey. If that's how we got to stop it, hey, let's
Yeah.
stop it. Let's put a hold. Let's put a stop to it. So and people don't understand. Like there's famous folks out here that have sickle cell,
Mhm.
but I do feel like some of those folks should bring more awareness to it, and they don't. Like, and I maybe it's because I'm not in the community that sees it all the time.
Yeah.
But you know, Prodigy from Mobb Deep had
Right.
sickle cell.
Right.
I mean,
He
he
sure
talked
did.
about it, but he didn't
Yeah.
really talk about it.
Right.
You know, T-Boz,
Yes.
she has
And
sickle cell.
yes, and she does a lot of things for Atlanta, down there in Atlanta. Um we got excuse me. We have a couple of um artists that I cannot give you by name right now. It's I'm having a brain fart. About a couple artists who rap about sickle cell. Um, I know lawyers, doctors um, that have sickle cell. There is plenty of athletes out there, but a lot of times it's not because they don't want to bring awareness. It's they're so far into their career, they don't want the, I'm not gonna say sympathy, but they don't want the ah,
Mm,
or the, the shock, or just the thought for somebody to be like, oh, they might not be able to do this.
yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? So they don't speak about it and they don't talk about it. And that's the reason why it's so invisible.
Mm, that makes sense. That makes sense. For the community listening, I'm gonna throw a couple more names out there that people probably didn't know because they just function
Right.
and they don't. And so, just to show you that this disease does not hinder folks,
Right.
Tiki Barber, a running back,
Yeah.
he has it,
Yep.
but it didn't slow or stop his career. Layla Hathaway,
Yes.
she
Yes.
has it,
Mhm.
and Tia and
Yep.
Tamara, she
Mhm.
has it.
Mhm.
You know, so these are things that to give people hope. Like, look, these folks are famous.
Yeah.
Tiki Barber played in the NFL for several seasons, and we don't know what he did on his off time, but during the season, it didn't look like nothing was affecting him.
No, and especially with all the pain that, you know what I mean, being hit like that
Yeah.
and playing and playing football, like that's how hard the pain hits. Like I'm not feeling that. Yeah, no, I couldn't do it. But see, that's the reason why I said everybody's different.
Yeah.
Where he might go and ice up, somebody else might need heat.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It's really, really different.
Yes, that's crazy. And finally, Laura, if you could speak directly to someone battling sickle cell right now, what is your message you want to leave with them?
Learn your body. Um, Pay attention to your surroundings. Make sure you're going to your appointments. Um, Listening to the doctor, but also having a diet, knowing nobody knows your body like you do. Paying attention to what goes on around you is a lot of what goes on with sickle cell. It could be the environment shift, weather change, just being knowledgeable about who you are as a person, and living with sickle cell. Make sure you have a strong circle. So when the chips are down, they know where to pick it up at. Um, first, most of all, definitely have to be spiritually inclined. You definitely need to know the Most High because He is the reason why you're here, and He will be the reason why you stay. By just, knowing that you can trust in Him and leave it with Him, and everything will be all right. What's meant for you is meant for you. So even with sickle cell, it's very few. It's not a lot of people that know with sickle cell or whatever. So I think they're angels. I think they're warriors. Um, you can beat this. Don't let it get to your head. You let it get to your head, it's over. You know what I mean? You have to live, because once the head is gone, the body is gonna follow.
Oh.
So you got to stay strong in your mental with sickle cell. It's a mental.
Destroy all podcasts. We are Destroy All Microbots.